step with it. You don't need to say it again unless you just absolutely have that passion. So, Representative Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee. I also want to acknowledge Representative Thompson and Representative Patty for their diligence and hard work during the sunset process. Thank you so much for your efforts and continued work in this. I appreciate the opportunity to lay out House Bill 1670. This is the sunset bill related to the Plumbing Board. The Sunset Commission has diligently considered this legislation as the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners was reviewed for continuation. And I would like to thank the members of the Sunset Commission, the Sunset staff, and the staff involved from the State Board for the thorough work that has gone into the review of the Commission and this particular bill. The Sunset Commission found the Plumbing Board has failed to address long-standing problems within its control to fix, and even broader problems like a continuing workforce shortage in our growing state. The Commission recommended transferring regulation of plumbing to the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, TDLR, which can capitalize on its efficient internal operations and knowledge regulating similar trades. Some of the major provisions on this bill include the creation of a plumbing advisory board at TDLR to ensure industry input in regulation. It modernizes licensure requirements and processes by authorizing reciprocal licensing, requiring fingerprint background checks, eliminating unnecessary registrations for apprentice and tradesman plumbers, and creates more flexibility for supervising entry-level plumbers who obtain on-the-job or classroom training, replaces the responsible master plumber designation with a plumbing contractor license, authorizes the outsourcing of exam creation and administration, clarifies the agency's role of overseeing continuing education, and it also allows for biennial license terms and aligns endorsement and license renewals. It also streamlines and standardizes enforcement processes by eliminating the cumbersome statutory enforcement committee and repealing outdated and unused authority to issue criminal citations. We have Sunset staff with us here today as a resource witness. If the committee has questions that may be of a more technical nature related to the Sunset process and review, I'm happy to answer any questions at this time, and I reserve the right to close.
Any questions? Representative Lambert? Not. We reserve you the right to close. So we have, looks like we've got 25 people signed up to testify. And the first one we're going to call is David Lopez. Please tell us your name and who you represent, and then proceed with your testimony, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is David Lopez. I represent the International Union of Elevator Constructors. The plumbing industry is very fortunate to be licensed and regulated. Coming from an elevator industry where we have no licensing or regulation, it's desperately needed. The other construction trades struggle with finding evaluated employees to do the installations. Licensing and oversight provided by the Texas Board of Plumbing and Examiners is critical to the plumbing industry. I oppose House Bill 1670. It would eliminate licensing and training requirements that are currently in place to protect the public. As Texas continues to grow, I don't see how this could possibly be a good idea. And my industry continues to see an increase in incidents with both the public as well as employees. It is my belief that that is because of the lack of licensing and training requirements. And I would hate to see other industries going in that direction due to deregulation. So in closing, and in the best interest of the people of Texas, I oppose House Bill 1670.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Chairman, I ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lopez, are you telling this committee y'all do other things than unstop commodes?
No, I am with the elevator constructors.
Okay, all right. I thought you was with the plumbers. I apologize. I apologize.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Any other questions? Nobody? All right, we appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming today, Mr. Lopez. I understood.
What about the toilet in the elevator? What about the toilet? What about the toilets in the elevator?
Chair calls Bobby Smith. I'm sorry.
Say he doesn't need to speak, but he
Is-
just did.
Okay. Chair calls James Berenson. Please state your name and who you represent today.
My name is James Berenson. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I got my license in 1980. I represent about, I'd say, 700 plumbers in Dallas, Texas. I oppose this bill. Simple fact that we've seen bad plumbing, and there's also good plumbing. I've been a master plumber since 1984. So I oppose this bill. I don't think you haven't heard about safety issues and things like that already there. So I just wanted to show my support.
We appreciate you coming very, very much. We know it's an imposition on those of you to travel to Austin like this and try to park somewhere. Any questions for Mr. Berenson? If not, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. And there is a lot more to plumbing than unstopping toilets. A lot.
Chair calls Joe Cooper. Joe Cooper? No, he's there, but he is against the bill. Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Ned Munoz. Ned Munoz. Is Ned? There you are, Ned. Please state your name and who you represent today and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. Ned Munoz with the Texas Association of Builders, and I'm here in support of HB 1670. And I just want to start off with explaining why we care about this. You know, we're the Texas Association of Builders, but we mostly 1- and 2-family building. We do have some multifamily builders, but we probably build about 90%, over 90% of our members, over 90% of the homes in the state. And we've seen a major labor shortage throughout all the trades, whether it be plumbing, electricians, masons, you name it. And that was certainly compounded by Hurricane Harvey. And that, along with the population increase that we're going to see in Texas, some say it's going to double by 2050, we need to house a lot of people. Unfortunately, delays equal higher costs. And while we certainly appreciate safety, see plumbers as our partners, and don't want regulations to stand in the way, we just feel the plumbing board is broken right now. When you look at the Sunset Report, I think it's plain, all the issues. A 5 to 8 month wait time for exams is obviously a very long wait time. Having to come to Austin to test is also an imposition, I think, on a lot of people who want to get in the plumbing industry. As you can imagine, hotel rates, travel, so forth, is a lot in Austin. And my understanding is they usually have to stay even 2 days. But whether it's 1 day or 2 days, the travel, I know, is imposition. Frankly, we don't care where the licensing and oversight goes, whether it stays at the plumbing board or goes to TDLR. We just want to see it fixed. That being said, I am confident that TDLR could get this fixed. After Hurricane Harvey, we reached out to the plumbing board and to TDLR. And I have to say, Brian Francis and his team were fantastic. They met with us within a couple of days. We talked about our concerns. TDLR fast-tracked some licenses. They extended certain license expirations. They issued out-of-state apprentice licenses. But they did all of this, I strongly believe, while keeping regulation and safety in mind. Unfortunately, the plumbing board, we did not have the same experience with them. Our calls to them went unanswered. And frankly, a lot of the problems we're seeing in the Sunset Report today are the same problems we saw 12 years ago. I believe it was 12 years ago when they went through Sunset. Again, we don't care where this goes. We just need these problems fixed. But we do feel that TDLR can certainly get those fixed. You know, licensing agencies exist to serve Texans, not to serve the licensees and continuing their work. And I don't think that the board is serving Texans properly right now. That being said, thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Munoz. Any questions? Not, we appreciate your testimony today.
Thank you very much.
Chair calls Laura Hester. Please state your name and who you represent today, and then proceed with your testimony.
Hello, thank you for having me today. I am here with my husband. He and I own a plumbing company in Weatherford, Texas, and we are here to oppose the bill.
Did you tell me your name? I apologize.
Laura Hester.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. Okay, so I did review the Sunset Board ruling, and I don't agree with all of it. I agree with some of it. So I've laid out a few things here. We do not agree with getting rid of the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners and transferring it to TDLR. One thing that the Sunset Advisory Commission stated in there is that in 2017, Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners received $5.2 million in revenue for licensing and registration fees. The board got to keep only $2.6 million, and the other $2.5 went to the general fund, the state's general fund. Right now, they're only allocated 31 staff positions as far as 2017. Why? How can 31 people efficiently manage an industry in the state as large as Texas? Why not let the board keep more of their money, so they can hire more people and to better perform their duties and administer tests? Also, with the deficiencies noted in the Sunset Commission report, I feel we need to look at replacing the current board members, possibly with new ones if they've been in there for several years. I think I heard that some of them have their terms have expired, but I guess they're still holding positions possibly. We do agree that possibly there could be more testing facilities across the state. We feel that there should be one standardized test. More testing locations across the state would be easier for people to actually attend. If you don't standardize a test, though, then you could find yourself in a situation where one test is easier than the other. So say if there was a testing location in Dallas and in Houston, and the word got around that Dallas's test was easier because the test isn't regulated, then obviously people are going to travel to Dallas. So we feel like more testing locations, but one standardized test would be best. Requiring a high school diploma and GED, they have provisions in there to possibly get rid of that. We tell our children every day at school that if you don't pass, you can't play. Why is an industry as important as the plumbing industry to keep the population's health and safety safe? Would it be okay to send out people that aren't licensed, that haven't been through the training, that may not be aware of the plumbing codes? So we're against that. We need to make sure that everybody has gone to high school and graduated, or at least got their GED. Okay, so eliminating the responsible master plumber and removing the statutory requirements for direct supervision and removing registration requirements. When is that ever a good idea? To weaken the supervision of an industry that holds the health and safety of its citizens. This is not a good idea. That means that there is no one on the ground at the job sites overseeing that the work is done properly and up to code. We have to follow these rules and regulations every day, and we are proud to do so. Our customers choose us because we follow them. They know they are getting good quality professional service when they call us. The one thing that we do agree with in this bill is performing background checks and fingerprinting for all licensed plumbers and apprentices. As a business owner, we have our employees. We have to know that all of our employees are in good standing with the community. They're going into the homes of our customers. We need to know that we're able to trust them as our customers trust us. As I stand before you today and ask you to vote against HB 1670. The TSBP the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners may not be perfect, but we don't think TDLR can manage our industry any better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have questions?
Any questions? Ms. Thompson?
Thank you so much for your testimony. I was listening to you. You mentioned about master plumbers and so forth and so on. Most people just think that plumbers just have one key role, but you do a myriad of things when you connect gas lines and things in doctor's offices and things like that. So you do need the assistance of master plumbers, and you do need the education, don't you?
We do, yes. As my husband holds his responsible master plumber. A responsible master plumber is someone who can pull permits and they oversee all of our employees. We have to put his master's number on everything. We put it on our shirts, our trucks, our equipment, and his number is tied to every bit of work that we do. And it is important that we're able to manage what our tradesmen and our apprentices are doing every day. We have to oversee. If they don't do it right, then it falls back to him, which is a good thing for the customer. I have customers call me every day, and they want a water heater put in, but they don't want to pay the permit fee because they're in the city limits. And I tell them, I said, this is a fee, and yes, it does come out of your pocket, but this is a good thing because not only are we doing a good job, but you're having a second person that has nothing to do with our business go in and look at our work and make sure that work is being done properly and that it's safe when we leave. Just like the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners needs to put, not necessarily put pressure, but needs to follow the responsible master plumbers and make sure that we're doing the job and we're overseeing our employees.
Thank you so much.
Any further questions? No, we appreciate you coming very much, Ms. Hester.
One more, but like 5 minutes.
Chair calls Thomas Kennedy. Thomas Kennedy.
Why's that? We need to go upstairs.
I was looking at that clock.
Yeah,
That'd be fine. Please state your name and tell us who you represent and proceed with your testimony, Mr. Kennedy. And I do tell you, we do have to leave here in a little bit. I'm not trying to rush you. If I have to cut you off, I'm just telling you in
I'm
advance.
so nervous it's going to be quick. My name is Thomas Kennedy. I'm a fifth-year apprentice. I'm standing in front of you against this bill. I have been doing plumbing for 4 years now. I have sat and waited for my plumbing test. I'm one of the people, the reason why we're here, because of the backlog. The reason that one of the reasons that Sunset was really pushing on it was the backlog of apprentices trying to test for their journeyman license. My problem with this bill is that it does not address the actual backlog. By switching over from the plumbing board to TDLR and removing originally they were talking about removing some of the hands-on hands-on testing. As far as I understand, that is back in, but now it is not actually listed on where you'll be taking the test. There are better ways of fixing this backlog than to move to an umbrella corporation. We have provided, I know that you have talked with a lot of our guys yesterday, and we have a couple of different options that we can actually fix this backlog, and we can fix this board without having to move it over to Texas Department of Licensing.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Any questions?
I got a question.
Thank you,
Goldman
Mr.
for
Kennedy.
chairman.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
You live here in Austin?
Yes, sir.
So you took the test here,
Yes, sir.
obviously. How long did you wait before taking the test before you got your license?
I signed up for my test in August, and I signed up for my test in August, and I took it in September. No, I'm sorry, in November. So that'd be...
Signed up in August, you took the test in November.
Yes, sir.
And then you passed the test.
Yes, sir.
And then when did you get your license?
I got my license in the mail like a couple weeks later.
A couple weeks later.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you were part of the backlog.
Well, I mean, when I signed up, there is a backlog. I mean, originally, as far as I understand it, 4 years ago, you signed up and you took the test within a couple of months. And that was one of the big hindrances of getting people to actually get licenses so we can get plumbers to fix Houston, was one of the big things that we were talking about, right? So there is a backlog, but there's better ways of fixing the backlog is what I'm addressing.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quick, I touched on that a little bit. So you're one of the more lucky ones. You signed up in August. And tests in October, November?
November, yeah. I remember signing up. I'm not remember the exact date because it was one of those things you sign up for it and then it just, oh, this is the date that I'll be going. I know I took my test in November 11th, and I believe I signed it up in the beginning of summer. So
relatively quickly, we hear a lot of stories that are 8-10 months.
right.
And of course, these are also folks that don't have the luxury that you have of being here local.
Correct.
So they have to travel all the way here to do that.
Mhm.
So yours is actually pretty quick compared to most of the stories that we hear. And there's some concern what can TDLR handle this. By comparison, they also do electricians.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wait months, you wait weeks.
Mhm.
Considerably shorter, so this idea that they can't do it to an electrician. It seems like your biggest issue is that it needs to be quicker.
Well, one of the things that I would like to address on your statement on that is that the electrical licensing through, if you wire a house wrong, your house burns down. If I plumb in your house wrong, I poison your entire community.
Well, and I appreciate that.
And so there's
comments, and I don't want to cut you off.
Sorry.
I know we got to hurry, Mr. Chairman. And I want to get, at some point when we come back, I want Sunset to come up here and we'll talk a little about this because it's my position, there's nothing in this bill that says, let's go put less qualified people than we do today out there to do plumbing work. That this is about how do we most efficiently and effectively regulate your industry, which should ultimately benefit you as a participant in the industry. So I just want to kind of put that out there, and I want to have some more conversation about that after the break. Because I think we're getting lost in our conversation here. We're talking a whole lot about it's not going to be safe and we're going to do what regulate less or do less requirements on licensure. That's not what we're talking about at all. We're talking about how do we best regulate the industry. This is not about making it less safe.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Kennedy? If not, we appreciate you coming very much today. At this time, if there is no objection from the committee members, in order to go to the floor, we will leave House Bill 1670 pending. The committee needs to recess for the House floor session and will reconvene upon final adjournment or recess of the House or during reading and referral of the bills if permission is granted. If there is no objection, the committee will stand recessed until final adjournment or recess of the House or during reading and referral of the bills if permission is granted. The chair hears no objection. The committee is now recessed.